Anyway, he's a great guy, but we were at dinner last fall one night, and I just heard this buyer loyalty agreement, and I kind of went, ching! And I borrowed a pen from Allison, and I wrote it on a napkin, and so finally now,
That's where all the best ideas are, on restaurant napkins.
So 5 years later, it is almost exactly the same as the buyer's loyalty agreement, with the exception of I eliminated the mediation option. If you look at your buyer's rep agreement that's in Flex now, there's an option to mediate. If we have a dispute, it's going to be between us and our client, and we'll work it out in-house here. Okay, we don't need to involve the board of realtors and have anybody else, you know, kind of getting into this business, because I think it's kind of an internal thing. I really would like to see 100% compliance. Everybody, when you're working with a buyer, get one of these things signed. It's not just so that you can somehow snare these people into working only with you. It's so that you can explain how this thing works, all right? It's a symbiotic relationship where you're helping them and they're helping you. Any questions?
My first one signed yesterday.
Good for you. And it's in Flex now under KW Forms, all right? And it's all set up for DocuSign and everything.
You know, on the heels of that, I was having a conversation with an agent Friday, and Shayna and I haven't talked to you about this yet, but I'm going to mention this to her later. You know, when I got my license and I was trained to field calls and lead calls, what's the question that you're always supposed to ask somebody when they call you? You know, talking realtor standards and ethics. What's the question you're always supposed to ask?
Are you an agent?
Okay. What do they always tell you?
No.
Yes. And then we say, well, they always say, hopefully they say yes, but most of the time they say, well, no, not really, right? Can I offer you guys a suggestion that will keep you out of hot water, keep you from getting crossways with other realtors, particularly ones inside our own walls, that might be helpful? How about this instead? Has another realtor shown you property? What's the two differences in that question? Are you working with someone? Well, what do you mean by working? Well, your definition of I'm working with someone can be I've done a CMA on their house, I've shown them 17 homes, I've met with them 4 times, and they could say, well, they weren't, I mean, I'm not working with them. Now, then you sit in front of Butch's desk with our agent inside, and our agent says, well, they told me no one was working with them. Is anybody really wrong in that position? No, but who do we get mad at? The other agent. Because we can't really get mad at the client, and we have no recourse, but we can take it out on the person sitting there who probably did ask the right question. So I would really challenge you, maybe change your script a little bit and ask the question, has anyone shown you property? Because I guarantee you, you're going to get a different answer than you're getting. And I guarantee you, you will keep your relationships with your customers. Understand that other realtors are your customers, right? Why is that?
You just signed homes yesterday.
Yeah, you're putting a property on the market. Your customer is not the buyers, unless you get the lead. Your customer is the other realtor that you're marketing the homes to. And it's nice to keep happy customers. I'm not saying lay down and don't fight for what's yours and go protect your business, but I'm saying let's really raise the bar a little bit. And let's ask a really clear question that can keep us all from sitting across from them. So just a suggestion.
I'll wear my mask.
Yeah. Somebody had, Linwood, you had something on that one.
I guess one of the things I do is just ask, how are we currently doing homes? And then they'll say, well, what do you mean? Are you looking at them online, or are you going, are you going in homes? And then that kind of helps. Oh yeah, I've been going to open houses, or it just kind of leads them into a natural progression of the conversation.
I just turn it into an action statement, not just this proverbial working with thing that's kind of out there. Because they don't know that they don't understand, right? And we expect them to operate on our level of understanding of the industry, which is they're still going to get to see the property. If a client calls me and they're working with Reed and they've got a buyer's representation agreement, a buyer loyalty, agreement signed, and they just want to see the house. So they're going to tell me whatever they think I want to hear. And guess what? They're not bad people for that. They're not liars. They're not terrible people. They're just trying to get what they want, which is to see the house. We just have to take the high road and educate them. Are you, is another realtor showing your property? Well, Michael King from Reed Moore's team has shown me 3 houses. You know what? Fantastic. I would love for you to see this property. Let me get a hold of Michael right now and arrange with him to get you in the door to see my listing. just a way better conversation.
How do you know the other guy has actually got him signed it?
Doesn't matter. They don't have to have a
You
buyer
mean
loyalty.
anybody's,
They don't have to have a buyer loyalty. We want you to use a buyer loyalty agreement. We encourage it. As Butch said, we'd love to see
Right.
100% compliance. But there are agents who don't have them signed that are working with another realtor.
so in that case, you just defer to the other realtor?
If he tells me he's out showing him property, absolutely, that is his client. It's the high road and we take it. We take it every time.
That sounds a little too high to me, because
No.
some of these people might.
Then they need to have a conversation with the realtor that's been showing them houses first.
Well, then
And then
maybe you
they're
can brief
welcome
them on
to.
that.
Then they're welcome to.
Yeah.
But we subscribe to a code of ethics. And that code of ethics says that we don't steal clients from other people that are working with someone. So certainly it's the consumer's choice. Huh?
Do we sign that agreement?
That thing? You did with the Board of Realtors. You know, certainly if the consumer has a choice.
Right.
But they need to have that conversation with them, just like if they're in the listing agreement if I've got my home listed with Belisa and I decide I don't want to work with her anymore, Shayna can't come solicit the listing. If I came to Shayna and said, Shayna, I just don't like my realtor, I want out, what's the right response? You need to have a conversation with your realtor before you and I can discuss anything.
Okay, that makes
Butch,
sense to me, but the
and it's-
thing about the buyers,
It's the same thing. It's the same conversation. Butch, am I wrong?
No, you're 100% right.
Yeah. I mean, I just defer to my broker who has to deal with all this. It is the same conversation.
And it's not our place, Mike, to tell a client, you know, to fire their agent. It's up to that client, for the citizen, to decide whether they want to continue to work with that other agent or not.
right,
I mean, if they come to me, they say, well, Jacob's been showing me homes, but I'm really not happy with it. I say, you know what, that's fantastic, and I can appreciate that situation. I think you and Jacob should have a conversation, and if after that you still want to engage in my services, once you've dealt with that with your agent, then I'll be happy to talk with you.
that I
But
like.
until,
Yeah.
you
But I wasn't
respect-
hearing that to start.
Well, yeah, that's
I was
what
here
I'm
to say,
saying.
go back to your agent, no
Yeah,
problem.
well, yeah, go back to your agent, but I'm also not gonna go try and, are you happy with the person that's showing you homes? That's not the question.
Right.
We don't ask that question. Yes.
I asked that question. Oh, this is awesome.
It's an ethics
Okay,
conversation.
so part of our script goes, are you currently working with a great agent? And it's interesting because a lot of times when we ask the question, you're working with an agent, it's a get out of jail free card. They say, oh yeah, and then they can get off the phone. Or they can just go and not be committed to anybody. When we ask the question, are you working with a great agent? And they hesitate, there's a good reason for that. They're either working with somebody who they happen to fall in the lap of and getting really poor service, or they are not working with anybody because that qualifier happens to just trip them up enough to start a really good dialogue, a really good conversation. I have to say, if there's somebody in this room that's working with somebody, if somebody's working with Jacob, we're going to have that conversation. You know what, Jacob's a great realtor, we're going to give him a call, this and that. If there's somebody I think is going to do a crappy job, or they're a competitor, you have to realize that we're usually talking to somebody who's already talked to maybe 6 or 7 agents.
Sure, they've
So
been
we don't-
signing up all online, everywhere.
Right, so we don't have that luxury of are you working with somebody? Because if they're not no kidding, we are in love with this agent, looking at houses, we're going to take the business.
Well, and I hear your point and counterpoint as well. We had an in-house situation where the client responded to the, are you working with a great agent, with a no, because they had texted their agent for an hour and hadn't gotten a response. So their decision was, I want what I want when I want it now. Tripping up on the great agent question isn't necessarily, in my opinion, that they aren't, or that they aren't with a great agent, or that they're not happy, or that they are stuck with someone or fell into the lap. It may be they want what they want when they want it that second. And
Right.
so they're
It
gonna
should open
call
up a
somebody and
dialogue.
answer whatever until they get the answer they want.
They should open up a dialogue, and if the dialogue is, I've been trying to get in touch with my agent for 3 days now, and they won't call me back. Well, that's that. I'm
sure.
a professional. I don't do this on the side. I'm not part-time. You're going to get better service, and that's just the way we feel about it. If it's been an hour, we're going to dig deeper and figure out what's really going on, because we
Right.
can't do any better if you're just.
Sure, are you gonna respond any faster than that? Absolutely. Sean, you have a point.
I wanted to just talk about one situation I had. I had sat down with a client and signed a listing agreement to list their property, buyer participation agreement, also at the same time, they gave me criteria, looked at properties with them for a long, long time, didn't find anything. And they said, okay, well, we'll just keep on waiting until more properties come to the market to take a look at it. We didn't have the property listed yet. Well, they went through an open house and way above the price range that we were normally looking at. And all of a sudden they said, oh, this is the house we want. The realtor was there, we did an open house, we had a form in front of them, signed a buyer representation agreement. I signed one with that realtor. I had one signed, I get a call from the realtor that they, somehow my name got mentioned. So.
Like, oh, he's
yeah,
listing our house?
Yeah, he's listing our house, and so then we had this conversation, but short story of it is 2 buyer representation agreements, both of them signed. Brokers were back and looking at who signed first, all that, procuring costs, everything. That realtor felt they were the procuring costs for the open house, and I had a buyer representation agreement. Because I had the signed buyer representation agreement, that realtor got a 25% referral fee. I took the client back, finished it, wrote the contract, completed, and then list their home, sell it, make it subject to the sell, all that good stuff we got it done. But you know,
Having
if
that
I
buyer
didn't have
agreement.
that would have never happened.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you have to, you know, you do everything that you can to educate your clients, but some things happen. They raise their price, therefore they were in a totally different price range, and come back and tell me that that's what they were doing, but they just happen to be looking at an open house. And when that situation happens, they don't know what the right situation is. They're not realtors. They don't understand our industry. They just find what's put in front of them, and the next thing you know, they've got obligations to 2 different realtors.
Yeah, and so here's my point. Think about your responses, think about your questions, and don't just fly by the seat of your pants. Be aggressive, be competitive, go get your unfair share of the pie. I mean, I want to see that. Also understand where you're at. And so my point wasn't actually to get into a huge discussion about this. I just wanted to throw out another script to just maybe help you weed through that a little quicker and keep you out of hot water. The last thing you want is dealing with an ethics complaint, because it's not fun and it's a pain in the butt and it's a waste of your time and all that. So just a suggestion. Butch, anything you would add to
Nope,
that?
that's good.
Okay. A couple of announcements real quick. Seller Mastery. I was supposed to teach Seller Mastery on Thursday. Haven't gotten any response back, so we're going to cancel it for here. If you do want to take the class, Seller Mastery and Bulletproofing, it is also offered in Eagle River on the 28th at the community room right across the street from the office. And that will be from 1 to 4 on the 28th of, what month are we in? Someone tell me, March. Seller Mastery. Guys, I am listening to a lot of you blow up my text saying I need help on scripts with listings. Here's your answer, take Seller Mastery. Right? That's where we get it. So 1 to 4 next, the 28th in Eagle River. Joe is going to grab the Total Market Overview class today from 2 to 3. Anybody who wants to learn how to use the TMO, that's available. Another reminder as well, I'll get to all these announcements and we'll get into the meat here in a second. Recruit Select, April 10th and 11th. Our regional guy told me I should have the registration link any minute. I'm watching like crazy. As soon as we have that link, we'll get it out to you. It'll be on the Daily Digest is where we'll post that. You can go there and register for Recruit Select. $285 if you have not taken the class before for the full version. If you take a Recruit Select Lite, that doesn't count. $100 if you're auditing and you have your own materials to bring from taking it previously.
And who's teaching that?
Matt Fettig. Again, officially Shayna here on board. Yesterday was her first full-time. Super excited. She's been meeting with agents for the last 2 days, well, yesterday and today, getting people excited and involved in the launch program. Guys, great profit share opportunity for you. If you know someone that's new to the business or wants to get into the business, I honestly think we are the only brokerage that has a full-time staff position dedicated exclusively to new agents. I know people have programs, but I'm not aware of anyone that is their full-time job and only responsibility. So really incredible. We went through the curriculum. Super excited. Anything you want to say or add or throw in?
No, I've sent out several emails, left messages. We're going to start in Anchorage. I believe the first series of Ignite will start on March 26th. So if I sent you an email or left you a message and that's something you're involved in, definitely call me. And if you have any with you, and then we're going to do lots of classes in the evening. So if daytime classes are something you're more we're gonna do evening Wasilla classes, and those will, change as needed with every group of people.
Yeah, we're really trying to run sort of a flex schedule on this, understanding that a lot of people have part-time jobs or other jobs as they're launching into business. So really, it's going to kind of depend on the crew of people that are in it at any given time as to when the classes will be. But if you have someone you know, Shana's your gal to talk to. What else? New licensees. I'm gonna put you right on the spot. First, you just literally signed paperwork.
GT.
Waiting on it. We just finished his paperwork, but I want to welcome David Taylor finally to. He's going to be one of the few licensees who took bold before he ever got his license. So he's going to be a rock star.
Now that's bold.
We've all totally bold. Am I missing anybody? I don't. Oh yes. Do you want to introduce for us, please? Do the honors. Sort of.
I am proud to announce my new buyer specialist, Clarissa Gangward.
Cool.
Today is her birthday.
Welcome, Clarissa. We're super excited to have you. And Reed, she's not here, but do you want to just introduce the new gal in your team as well?
Yeah, Brenda McKinley. She was a teacher for the last 7 years, and she's coming over as a lead manager and a customer care person on our team. So
Yeah.
she'll be roaming around for the next couple of weeks.
If you see someone that looks lost,
Yeah.
just point her in the right direction. It's okay. Okay, let me think. Anything else on my list? Nothing. Okay, let's dive into Maxwell. Yes, Malin. Sorry, go. Oh, I'm gonna let you. You go for it. Oh, but you're so good. No, we could do this all day. Okay, so we are in a little competition with our other offices, our business centers, to see who can reach their goals and sell the most home warranties in a year. Guys, to deal with the home warranties, I don't know if I can emphasize it enough. This is huge, huge risk management, prevention for you when you sell a home warranty. Malin is here at every team meeting practically. I don't want to commit you forever, but almost all the time she's here. She's around constantly. You can save yourself expense, you can save your seller's expense, your buyer's expense. Our errors and omissions premium goes down as we hit certain numbers of warranties that you guys sell. Understand we don't make any money off of this. This isn't a profit center for us. This is how we want you to help protect yourselves. Anything you can throw in and add about that while you're standing here or sitting here?
Other than I've had probably 3 realtors call me in the last week and a half about I forgot to do this, or my folks really wanted this or whatever, and so they're now writing a check.
For a dishwasher, or for a hot water heater,
Yep.
or whatever.
Pressure relief valves on furnaces, washer and dryers, they forgot to add coverage, or they left it up to the title companies, or things like that. So please, please, please put this as part of your job description. Title company does not want to do it. They obviously will put it on the HUD, they'll send in checks. They will even fax in applications, but they really prefer that you guys hand them an invoice or have us email or fax them an invoice. That way it's ready on the HUD when we get there, not something that's added to their plate. That way just less stuff is missed. And currently, percentage, this is all based on percentage because of course you guys are the biggest ones as far as numbers. So the goal for you is 1 warranty a day.
That's a 365 right here. One a day adds up to 365 in a year.
So and Eagle River.
That's all the math you get from me today. 1 times 365. I'm done for the day now.
So this is a huge growth for you guys over last year, but this is not a huge growth for you guys over 2011. So this is kind of getting back to 2011 numbers. And the same thing for Wasilla and Eagle River. And currently, percentage-wise, Wasilla is kind of kicking butt.
Well, and if you have questions on, okay, Jen, I understand that this is a great, risk management tool. I understand this protects everyone. I don't know how to do it. That's why Melinda's here. Just stop her, ask her. She can tell you what forms to fill out, what to do in the process, and how to make that happen. Years before I moved to Keller, and I was still an idiot in the business,
although there are days that I can be accused of that now. But prior to moving over here, I didn't understand warranties. They really weren't even around at the time. I budgeted $500 per unit closed, knowing I would end up paying for something. And if I didn't, great. Now granted, I didn't have the negotiating skills to learn how to protect myself there. But if I had $1 for every dishwasher I bought or fixed, I'd be a rich woman right now. So just use these as much as you possibly can. Yeah.
You're posing the question that if the buyer and the seller will not want to buy a warranty, are you posing the question that the agent should chip in the $390 to buy?
I'm not suggesting that, but I'm not.
Well,
that's a personal.
Certain clients that may be
Alternative to
smart.
that is to have them sign the waiver, which is on the application. As far as your E&O insurance goes, and those, I mean, your E&O does go down for warranties applied to homes, but it also goes down when you have that waiver signed as well. So if
Knowledge
they
is that
say,
you offered it and they declined it.
I do not want a warranty, I do not want to pay for it, if you do not want to use that as a risk management tool for yourself, please have them sign the waiver. We provide the waiver on the application. And kind of like home inspections, when they first, when people were first really getting, or brokerages were really getting hot and heavy into signing off on these home inspection waivers, if you chose not to have one for warranties, kind of going the same way as far as E&O and other things. So just make sure that your practice is, whether it's a listing or a buyer, hey, I recommend you get one. If you don't want one, that's fine. However, I really need you to sign this waiver because I'm protecting myself. So it's risk management for you to still just use the waiver. And we prefer that everyone get protected and use the warranty, but if they won't or they refuse, then we have to sign the waiver. Pretty good files, and that way if anything ever does come up, you've at least presented it, and it still falls under that best practice.
Would you feel the same impetus to buy a dishwasher if you've gone through the conversation and explained the home warranty and they had said, no, we don't
Sure,
want
I
that.
wouldn't.
The dishwasher goes out, they're gonna call you, you can say, no, sorry, not
Hey,
gonna
boy,
pay.
we covered this
We
in the
covered it.
expectations dialogue. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure going backwards, I would have absolutely done that. My hindsight's also 20/20, but yes, I think I would certainly have had that conversation. So, thank you, Malin. All right, let's dive into Maxwell. So we've been away from it for a little bit because we had family reunion and we had the one thing. And those of you that remember, we were going through the 15 invaluable laws of growth. And today we wanted to talk about Chapter 8, which I expect you to be very uplifted and excited about because it's the law of pain. So this should leave everybody with a big old smile on their face. Does anybody have a guess as to what the law of pain is referring to?
You're gonna wait for pain.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Pain of regret.
There's another Maxwell book that is kind of, I call it, my life is, it's loosely based on my life. It's called Failing Forward. And so that's really what this is talking about, that we grow the most when we're in times of pain. Sadly, however, what is most of our reaction to times of pain? Oh, I see you all, we see everybody in the hall, whining to anybody that will listen. Stopping just random strangers in the hall to just go over all the pain that they're in at the moment. That's how we typically, by nature, respond. So Maxwell really gets into it, and he says, listen, every problem introduces a person to himself. So I want you to think about that for a second. Every problem introduces a person into himself. Each time we encounter a painful experience, and as you guys remember, I like to read a lot from this just because I'm not going to try and say it better than Maxwell does. Each time we encounter a painful experience, we get to know ourselves a little bit better. Pain can stop us dead in our tracks, or it can cause us to make decisions we would like to put off, or deal with issues that we would rather not face, or make changes that make us feel uncomfortable. There's a great example. I was driving home from the gym this morning, and I was listening to my talk radio, and apparently, and this is not a political statement of opinion, it's just a fact, apparently the House has submitted a budget. B-U-D-G-E-T. We haven't had one in our country now, you guys understand, for 4+ years. We've been operating without a budget. So the House has submitted a budget. Now the Senate says they're proposing a counter budget. We just went through a pretty significant pain about a week and a half ago, didn't we? What was it called? Sequestration. Now, I don't care whether you agree with it, disagree with it, where you stand, left, right, or indifferent. Here's my point. We went through some pain, Now, what are we talking about? Finally, less than like 7 days later. We're constitutionally bound to have an operating budget. We haven't had one for 4 years. I'm not casting blame. I'm not saying who's wrong, who's right. All I'm saying is it took some pain to have a tough conversation. Now we're having it. We have those situations in our lives all the time, right? Pain forces us to deal with things that maybe we've put off. He goes on to talk about, am I on time today? Okay. Could have spent more time on fire rep, or working with agents.
Fire loyalty.
So, thank you.
Keller Williams loyalty.
What am I going to do?
I got your back.
You're always there. Okay. So here's what he talks about. He goes on to tell the story of a gal, Cheryl McGinnis, whose husband Tom one morning got up, left for work, normal day, normal routine. It happened to be the morning of September 11, 2011, and her husband Tom was a pilot for American Airlines. You guys know the story. He was shot down. She went through a terrible tragedy. He points her out because he says, as unfair and unreasonable and as impossible as it seems, she said, we still have to do work after a tragedy occurs. We still have roles to fill. We still have responsibilities to family and others. The stuff of my life may pause for a while, but it doesn't stop. Fair or not, that's reality. If any of you guys have children in your lives, you understand the question that you get asked multiple times a week, or the statement you hear, this isn't fair. It's not fair. Why did you take out the trash last night? It's not fair. You know, life isn't fair. And how do we respond all the time, right? Well, life's not fair. So that's what my dad said to me, that's what I'm saying to you, and that's just the way it is. Here's what John talks about. He says, what I know about bad experience. He says, I've never known anyone who said, I love problems. I mean, that's unreasonable. We don't expect you to have this attitude of, I can't wait for the next massive challenge to fall in my lap. I'm so excited for that problem. But he does know many who've admitted that their greatest gains have come in the middle of their pain. And I would challenge you to look backwards on your life and see if that's the truth. Again, hindsight is 20/20, and if you look back, oftentimes your greatest gain happens when you're in the middle of, or coming through really, really challenging circumstances. Here's what he says about bad experiences. Number one, everyone has them. I don't know about you, but I had the grandfather that was the conspiracy theorist. Does anybody know that guy? You know, the whole world is out to get him all the time. You know, if there's a long line in the grocery store, there is a massive conspiracy that has, you know, pointed him out as the human being shopping that day, and they're going to inflict a long, torturous, non-moving line upon him. They think they're the only one. The truth is, guys, we all have bad circumstances, right? Every single one of us. There's no exception to the rule. Nobody gets a free pass. There's a quote that says, I try to take life one day at a time, but lately several days have attacked me at once. You ever feel that way? I mean, am I the only one in the room that feels that direction? I got a text from my mother today. My dad had a root canal yesterday. So, oh man, I'm really sorry my dad had a root canal. Dad, feel better. And then he had another one today, and he kind of went, oh, good grief, you know? He's getting attacked by several days at once. We all have those feelings sometimes. Everyone has them. Number two, no one likes them. It's universal. Nobody likes a challenge. Nobody looks forward to it. Nobody's excited about it. Dustin Hoffman says this. You guys all know who Dustin Hoffman is, award-winning actor. He said, if anyone had laughed, he talks about himself and Robert Duvall and Gene Hackman when they were young actors. He said, if anyone had told us we would have been successful, we would have laughed in their faces. We were anything but successful actors in those days. I was a waiter, Gene Hackman was a mover, and Robert Duvall worked at the post office. We didn't dream of being rich and famous, we dreamed of finding a job. It was a time of terrible rejection, and we hated being rejected. It got to the point we would leave our 8x10s at the door of casting agents, knock and run, just so we wouldn't have to be rejected face to face again. It was so discouraging that I seriously considered quitting and becoming an acting teacher in the university. Nobody likes the tough times, okay? So just understand we're all in the same boat. Number three, his observation about bad experiences is that very few people will make bad experiences positive experiences. Think about those people in your life, and you immediately, they come to mind, right? The people who take bad experiences and they continue to be worse and worse and worse experiences that they are now handcuffed by for the rest of their natural existence. He says success in life